It's on. I see sound. I like this.
Okay. Good evening. July 8th, agenda meeting in Milltown. Oh, sorry, July 8th meeting. Agenda meeting in Milltown, Borough. Order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Susan?
Here.
Councilman Perkins?
Here.
Councilman Herbert? Present. Councilman Gotti? Here. Councilman Mayor? Here. Councilman Rosicki? Mr. Mayor, we have 5 present.
Thank you. Will the clerk please read the meeting statement?
The Commission would like to adequate notice of holding a business meeting of Borough Council was provided by the adoption of a resolution and posting filing of authority about copies of the information from Borough newspapers, home distribution of Charlotte Publishing Company on January 10, 2019. Public participation in this meeting will be permitted during public hearing and after the agenda as other matters have been completed.
Okay, thank you. We will dispense with items 4 and 5 until the regular meeting. And we'll go right to items for discussion. Okay, first up this evening is sugar-free presentation from Orville Morales, the Community Campaign Manager, the Public Good Projects. From New Jersey, Mr. Morales. Good evening, sir, and welcome.
Hello, good evening. Thank you, Mayor, for your time, members of the Council, Council President Dixon, and everyone for being here and willing to do the people's work on a beautiful Monday evening, if you noticed. So I appreciate you, and special thanks to Ms. Councilwoman Kerber for facilitating my opportunity to be here today to speak to you. I won't take too long. Can I approach to pass on some materials for you?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Again, thank you so much for allowing me to speak here and present to you today. My goal is going to be straightforward. My goal is to try to cut New Jersey's sugar drink habit. That's right, I'm going after people's sodas and their consumption of it. But there's actually a very important reason why we're doing it. To give you a little bit of background, I'm the campaign manager for the Public Good Projects, and we work on engaging in health behavior campaigns throughout the country that is focused on specific behaviors in our communities, such as tobacco, mental health stigma, binge drinking, sugar-sweetened beverages, which is what I'm going to be talking about this evening, teen pregnancy, and many other issues that we know that if people receive data-based information to encourage them to adjust their behavior around certain issues, we can see real changes in health outcomes. And to illustrate that, last year in 2018, the Nicholson Foundation, which is a public health foundation based here in New Jersey, funded us to do a campaign to decrease the sales of sugar-sweetened beverages. So we focus on a very specific behavior, in this case, sugar-sweetened beverages. And I'm not going to spend too much time to go into the ill effects of sugar on what it does to obesity, diabetes, tooth decay, and many other issues. I understand you're going to have a great event around diabetes coming soon, so it's not lost upon you the importance of this issue. But what's key here is that last year in engaging in a health communication campaign and working with community organizations, we were able to decrease sales by 8% in Passaic County, 4% of soda and fruit drinks based on our approach. This year we're focusing on New Jersey employers, and we're hoping that employers will take the pledge to go sugar-free within their organization. And that has a couple connotations to it. So we know that not all organizations can just wipe out all of the sugar-sweetened beverages. You want to give your employees choice. You want them to feel comfortable in their environment. What we're asking for is you to encourage to provide individuals information on why it's important to choose water. We provide wellness materials for corporations to participate in this campaign in one of three levels. Either it's a bronze level, which is simply to just make sure you're providing water at meetings and activities, which I'm sure Milltown already does. The second one is to now start looking at the vending machines in the city and encouraging more healthier options in those vending machines, as well as providing health information on or around the vending machine. And thirdly, of course, is a little bit more aggressive, and it's removing the sugar-sweetened beverages. So we understand that participation does vary. Currently, we have RWJ facilities, RWJ Barnabas hospitals, such as in Jersey City, Newark, have joined the campaign. Rahway. We also have St. Peter's is about to join the campaign, as well as smaller hospitals like St. Joseph's Hospital and Trinitas over in Elizabeth. And certainly we have the city of Trenton has gone gold, and they don't have any sugar-sweetened beverages within their departments. We also have Patterson and Newark are looking to consider to join this campaign. Lincoln Park, which is a smaller town, Garfield, my hometown, which is where I live in now, have joined the campaign. And it's not customary for me to come to the city council, but I really admire all the work that Councilwoman Kerber is doing in the county around health. And she encouraged me to come out here and connect with all of you to ask that certainly the mayor, business administrator to support and sign the pledge to join the campaign, that you're just going to encourage individuals to do the healthier thing, and that's drink more water. And I'm open to take any and all questions at this time.
Any questions for Mr. Morales?
I feel like suddenly you're upset because I'm asking you guys to stop drinking soda.
So I actually have a question for Councilwoman Kerber. Are you putting an ordinance on for us to vote on about sugary drinks?
Not at the time. I just wanted to make sure this presentation was provided to us, and then we would talk with the VA and see how.
Because I was just wondering what we as a council could do.
Right. So,
Anything?
and I know with the school districts, they have the vending machines. So, and they were brought up about, health and changing some things. So I wanted to get everyone's take on it before we proceed to do that.
Do what?
With the resolution and ordinance, have the VA talk to the staff and see if we want to at least sign on to like the bronze level so we can encourage water throughout the town with the school districts and local businesses.
Now, just so I understand, if Councilman Kerber says the bronze level, we can't enforce that on the schools or businesses here. We can just make suggestions.
Sure. Essentially what you're doing is taking a stance of leadership. It's saying that as a governing body that supports their employees' wellness, we're encouraging people to drink more water at the bronze level, at the silver level, at the gold level, what you feel is more appropriate for your employees. So it's a focus on your employees. What this it does something for us because it helps us now build a coalition of municipalities that are joining the campaign, as well as currently pursuing larger corporations like the Johnson & Johnsons and the Audibles and throughout the state, and major hospitals are also joining the campaign. So we're looking to focus for employees, number one. Number two, it doesn't have to be a council ordinance. It can simply be the mayor. I don't mean to kind of buck stops with the mayor, but it can be simply to sign one of these forms on behalf of the city on one of the three levels. And in this particular case, the idea is that the council should also be behind the mayor to do this. Because it is a team effort, and I would hope that all of you will be supportive with a measure such as this. So it could be just a simple signature from the mayor, and the council supports it. It doesn't have to be a formal ordinance either.
That's great. On a personal level, I would like to thank you for coming out here and making this presentation. I suffer with type 2 diabetes. If something else doesn't get me first. It's an unfortunate reality. That's like that. I think it's a great message to people to please check your sugar intake, carbohydrates too. A little lately, however, it's not too late for everybody else that's out here in Milltown and I think it's a great message that we need to take to our people in our community. And anybody too, if you're about this, you get involved. Have information down there at your town hall. Bring it back to the place of business, place of worship. Get the word out. And if you're really looking to do something to make a true difference in people's lives, this is really worthwhile.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, absolutely. I also had this pre-diabetic a couple of years ago before I got this position. So I do think it was a divine providence that encouraged me to work with this organization. And certainly we know that we take for granted that every moment matters in our lives. And what we do in that moment matters. So this is an effort of encouraging people to take agency behind their own health. We certainly can't wait for policies nationally or statewide to encourage our people to get healthy. We need to find innovative ways, and that's where I'm grateful with this organization and the different kind of work that we do, because we really focus on connecting with where people are at. We don't think that issue, and you'll notice that one of the policy measures is related to a tax, and we don't believe that a tax should be the option to go to if you can change people's demand for it. Because that's where the bottom line that we see when it comes to beverages. And unfortunately, in your case, you had to wait until you were diagnosed to then realize, I almost got there. That scared me. My grandma is also diabetic. And full disclosure on a personal level, I did give my grandmother a little bit of ginger ale this weekend. I was sitting with her watching a movie on July 4th, and she was thirsty, and she was just really wanted. She's 90. I couldn't help it. So I'm also guilty because public discourse encourages us to give everybody all of the options and not be considerate of what might be affected them. So, but I did give her in a small cup. To be fair, I controlled the amount. She had a little bit, and then I kept pushing water after that. Full disclosure. But thank you for sharing that as well. It's encouraging to hear. That you're also are aware that people need to at least be informed. And if you sign on, we do offer marketing materials, which should be on the last page on the left side. I'll give you all of those posters and tank cards that you can put in public places that you can print out yourselves, because essentially that's what we do with them. We're a marketing organization, and we're just trying to help agencies promote the right messages.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, as an injection-taking diabetic, anything that I can help Councilman Kerber with this, it really hits home. Being a diabetic, I don't want to use the word obese, but overweight. If I would have had some guidance in my younger years as a child, even if it's whatever council can do as far as writing letters or going to local businesses, I'd be willing to help in any way I could. And I think it's a good thing. I think you know, Mr. Mayor, if you sign up, or if the BA, you know, looks at all the paperwork and thinks it's okay for us to do, I'd be willing to help Councilwoman Kerber in anything that she would need.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I better walk away now because this is great. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time, Mr.
Thank you
Mayor.
very much, sir.
Councilwoman.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you.
Okay, next on this evening's agenda, we have Barbara Feinstein, the Junior Diabetes Foundation. If you'd like to come up. This is in regards to the Mayor's Wellness Walk and Health Fair to be held at the Mill Pond Park on September 21st, 2019.
Hi,
Good evening and welcome.
thanks for having me. I was Councilwoman Kerber, who actually came to our local JDRF chapter and asked for someone to be here. So my name is Barbara Feinstein. I'm a volunteer with the JDRF New Jersey Metro and Rockland County chapter. I'm a government relations advocacy team chairperson and a Ride to Cure Diabetes cycling coach. For those of you who don't know what JDRF is, way back in the day, you used to hear it called Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. It's no longer called that because it's not a disease that just affects children. So it's an organization that actually works to find ways to prevent, treat, and eventually find a cure for type 1 diabetes. I got involved with JDRF in 2003, shortly after my son Brad was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 7. The good news, he's healthy, recently completed his first year of law school at Wake Forest School of Law in North Carolina. The not so good news, he still has type 1 diabetes and will have to contend with the challenges of living with this 24/7 disease until a cure is found. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease in which a person's pancreas stops producing insulin. It's a hormone that people need to get energy from their food. It can strike suddenly in both children and adults at any age. You hear more and more these days, it's not just children, there are adults into their 30s and 40s who are first getting diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Its onset has nothing to do with diet or lifestyle. Though the cause is not yet entirely understood, scientists believe that both genetic factors and environmental triggers play a role. There's currently nothing you can do to prevent it, and there is no cure. Type 2 diabetes is not an autoimmune disease. With type 2 diabetes, the body still produces insulin but cannot use it effectively. While both diseases are different, the resulting costly and burdensome complications are the same. Diabetes affects over 30.3 million adults and children in the US, or roughly 9.4% of the population. 1 in 4 healthcare dollars and 1 in 3 Medicare dollars, that's about 32% of the Medicare budget, are spent on people with diabetes, and estimates show that diabetes costs the US economy approximately $327 billion annually. It's a common and growing disease in New Jersey. Approximately 8.2% of New Jersey's population has diabetes. That includes type 1 and type 2. The financial burden that this disease places on New Jersey's health system is staggering. So the most recent numbers I could find was the 2013 numbers that says the direct and indirect cost of diabetes in New Jersey was approximately $11.9 billion. And the health costs of diabetes are predicted to nearly triple in the next 25 years. So people with diabetes suffer from many related complications or conditions. It's the leading cause of kidney disease, blindness in working age adults, and amputations unrelated to accidents. While people with diabetes are living much longer, they face a 2 to 3-fold increase in heart disease compared to people without diabetes. People with diabetes are living longer, healthier lives with fewer complications because of scientific advances, including innovative research supported by something called the Special Diabetes Program. Now, that's a program that provides $150 million towards research each year, and that research is looking for better treatments, preventions, and a cure for type 1 diabetes. And that program is a program that's a federal program. We go back every year or every 2 years to the federal government to get that funding renewed. So JDRF is a partner with the federal government. JDRF research and advocacy efforts seek to do the greatest good for the largest number of people in the shortest period of time. The combination of federal diabetes research funding and JDRF's private investments constitutes one of the world's most effective public-private partnerships focused on curing a disease. Type 1 diabetes is a costly disease. People with type 1 diabetes incur almost 3 times the level of medical expenses compared to people without diabetes. It is fatal without insulin. Even if you can't afford it, you can't just stop taking insulin. For those with type 1 diabetes, the ability to control their disease is critical to survival. JDRF advocates for coverage that enables type 1 diabetes control and supports the continued innovations that makes managing diabetes easier. And JDRF passionately believes that giving people with diabetes control over their choices and their health care costs is not only the right thing to do, it's also the smart thing. Quality, affordable coverage helps people with type 1 diabetes avoid costly emergency room visits, inpatient admissions, and other complications. Making it easier for people with chronic conditions like type 1 diabetes to manage their disease is better for the economy because it keeps them healthy and productive and reduces overall healthcare costs. JDRF also does a great job of getting individuals of all ages involved. Starting today, actually, through Wednesday, Washington, D.C. is hosting our 2019 Children's Congress. That's something that happens on Alton every other year. Youth advocates who are kids ages from 4 to 17, representing all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and 5 countries, experience a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to help members of Congress understand what life with T1D is like, and why research to funding life-changing therapies until a cure can be found is so vital. They speak up on behalf of the millions of people living with type 1 diabetes and the families and friends that love them. Our chapter has 4 delegates attending Children's Congress this week, and you might have seen some of them. There's been some public postings and things like that about these children. So I've tried not to overwhelm you, but I hope that if you were not familiar with type 1 diabetes when you got here tonight, you now understand a little bit about the disease. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to enlighten you about JDRF and the great work the organization does for those living with type 1 diabetes. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer?
Any questions from Ms. Feinstein?
I just have a question. Later on today, there's a resolution on our agenda. It's a Junior Diabetes Foundation is hosting a Milltown Community Walk and Health Fair Saturday, September 21st in Mill Pond Park. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going to happen?
I actually am not familiar with that, so no, I can't. I'll have to turn it back to Councilman Gerber.
I partnered with Stacy DeArchangel from the JDRF, and we're going to showcase the kids that do have type 1 diabetes to be in the entranceway of the walk. We'll have some health fair there as well. And we have an opportunity with the local businesses either to sponsor or, where's my bag? We're going to provide with the local businesses. So I'm looking for volunteers. We do have lids for these so that they can put the money into these jars. And if people cannot make the walk, at least we will have an opportunity throughout the local businesses in the area to be able to provide a donation to the JDRF, and we'll be doing that. I do have a couple of students that will be assisting me, but any other volunteers would be great to have, so that we really can do a spectacular job in Milltown and show our support, especially people with type 1 diabetes, the children in the organization.
One of the key things that when I go every single year to Washington, D.C. with other people in my same volunteer role as advocates, and one of the big things we always say to Congress, as much as we ask for that $150 million a year, JDRF does not look for a handout. We have fundraising as a ride coach. We have 5 rides throughout the country that people are riding up to 100 miles, and they're fundraising a minimum of $2,000, and we have people who raise $10,000 and $15,000 that goes directly to JDRF to help fund that research. So we don't only look for handouts from the government to support the research. And there have been, just since 2003, since I've been involved, tremendous advances in the way people, both with type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes, treat and work towards it. And there are research studies out there looking to prevent it.
Well, what, being on the Milltown Lions Club, we do focus on the visually impaired and blind, but also they've realized globally we need to lend a helping hand, and diabetes is one of the organizations that they want to push for, and that's why I chose your organization.
It's greatly appreciated.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, I would like to again say to the folks in Milltown, September 21st, 2019 at Mill Pond Park, 9 to 12. There will be a health fair and a wellness walk also in support of the mayor's wellness campaign. So there you have it.
And once the resolution's approved tomorrow, I will put, I'm using the school's mascots, the pandas and knights, so it'll be Team Pandas and Knights, and it'll be online so that you can go online and give a contribution to, you can be anonymous or put your name, whichever you want to do. I thought that was the best name I could come up with, and I think it would be terrific for the school to participate as well.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, miscellaneous engineering items. Mr. McClellan, CME Associates.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I'm going to defer to Deanna tonight to give our report. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a couple items to discuss with you tonight. First, the Wilson Avenue improvements. All the storm sewer work has been completed, as well as paving, striping, and all curb and sidewalk work. The only work that remains is restoration, and pay estimate number 2 is on the bill list tonight. Next, we have the Department of Public Works Complex. Pay estimate number 12 is on the bill list tonight. The tracking pad has been installed at the entrance to the site. On-site curb installation is substantially complete, and site grading and building construction are ongoing. And lastly, as we mentioned in the last meeting, the 2020 municipal aid applications are available and are due on July 19th. We provided estimates last meeting, so we're hoping to get direction on which road you'd like to apply for tonight. That's all. Thank
Any
you.
questions for the engineer? Seeing none?
Yeah, I think, Mr. Mayor, I think we've now, unless you have a preference to do it later, I think we may want to talk about which roads the mayor and council may want to select. I think staff, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jeanette, believes that the best place to request the grant money at this point is the, you have some settlement that's occurring on Foch. Appears to be from the sanitary sewer main and the laterals. There's starting to be serious depressions. And in meeting with Ralph and the administrator, it was believed that that was probably the best location to try and request the grants from the Department of Transportation. We've done estimates, which Deanna will go through in a minute, for several roads, and they are, a portion of Ackerman was discussed, West Foch, again, as I said, Hague, Pitane, Garver, from Cortland to Highland, and from Elkins Lane to Columbia, and then Clayton Court was also on our list. We provided those numbers to your administrator, and further discussions indicate what's happening. It appears, and it's not uncommon, as sewers begin to age, soils begin to migrate through the joints in the pipe, and it appears that's what's happening. We're not 100% certain, but the road is starting to show significant signs of depression. And Hague and Pitane also has been on Ralph's list for some time. So it's our recommendation you consider that. Unfortunately, the cost is probably over $1 million for the 3 streets, including the sanitary, which is going to exceed the allowable grant fund from the Department of Transportation. So in conversations with your administrator, it appears that the most prudent thing to do is to submit the whole 3 roads as a package, and then try to get as much as you can. And once you get the money, you can then decide which piece to do with the money you got.
No, that would be Foch, Hague, and Pitane?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, 3 streets are in need of repair. I mean, you know, it's hard to justify leaving those. I mean, in terms of what you have, these depressions are something that needs to be addressed. We're not sure if the state will fund the sanitary, so we're going to write the application to include fixing the sanitary, because it really has affected the road. Whether we can obtain additional monies beyond the normal, used to be 150, now it's 250, 300. Last year we got 500 in some cases. So that would go a long way to correcting some of it. It's not going to complete the whole thing, but at least it's a shot in the right direction.
Mike, would it be possible for us to phase the 3 as we did the last one we did up here on Wilson?
Yeah, and by putting it all in, then you can select which phase, and then the following year get additional money. So that's the only thing we can think of to try and get it done without additional monies from the borough.
Yeah, in my humble opinion, you know, I try to do like every 2-3 weeks, take the car, I drive around through the whole town.
Yeah.
Those 3 streets are horrendous. They really are.
And they were on Ralph's list, and I think Jeanette took a ride, I guess, with them, and we all sort of came to the same conclusion.
Yeah.
You do have other needs, but in terms of what's, you know, really right now, that's probably the worst case.
What's the grant amount?
Well, they don't really tell you. You make your application, and then, you know, last year I think we got somewhere between $400,000 or $500,000, depending on which project. And you have to write it in such a way that they score it, and then you compete with the funds throughout the county. So, you know, it's every year we get something. It's just a question how much. But overall, I think the total cost is over $1 million for 3 roads.
1.3 or so.
We have the sanitary figured on all 3 streets, because once you start the sanitary, the belief has to be that the rest of it is probably in a similar shape.
Now, would Hagan Patain be reconstructs?
Yeah, yes.
So they're
And
thinking,
what we do with the sanitary, we would televise the sanitary sewer, try to save the main. There's ways to internally line these pipes so that it can be done today, which you're all familiar with, I think, by now. With sanitary sewer, since it's gravity, it's a little easier to do with a pressure pipe. And the laterals could be lined also, but you know that all has to be weighed once you start doing your investigation. So. And that may save you some money.
I also think that it's worth noting that several years ago, I guess that we had done an ordinance to do some of the paving on Foch, and Ralph luckily was wise enough to say, you know what, better hold up on that, because I think that there are additional problems with the road. So we do have some money left from that you know didn't get spent, that's still waiting. So that'll help, you know, add to the payment of the road repair.
Well, Mike, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
You said that generically that it might be the sanitary sewer leaking liquid out, kind of undermining everything.
There's usually silts that wash in through the pipe.
Well, what if we go through and that's not the case?
The part of the investigation is going to determine that. Okay, but coincidentally, where the depressions are appears where the laterals are. So it's pretty much nothing's ever perfect in the engineering world or the world of roadways. But we've seen this condition before where you have that settlement. It's either the laterals deteriorate or there's silts washing in through the joints.
But the homeowners are responsible for the laterals.
They are. That's right.
So my whole point in this is that Clayton Court has been on the radar for about 5 or 6 years. It's basically a health hazard. Water pools, there's mosquito problems there. We've talked about this, so you're aware. I think those people have been quite patient for quite a long time in kind of putting up with what's going on there. So personally, I would like to see Clayton Court get addressed. They've been, like I said, they've been on the radar for the last 5 or 6 years, and they've been putting up with a lot. So I'd like to see that at least get them in.
Well, there's been years where there's been multiple roadways, and what you've done is you've added them as an application. So you basically you could put in Hague, Patain, and Foch as one project and Clayton as the other, and then see which one scores the highest. You know, you don't get 2, you rarely ever get 2, but you could put both of them in and then try to see which one scores the highest. You know, they're going to ask for a priority, so I want to tell you that. We have to say which is our priority, but there's a possibility that one scores higher, and as a result you get the funding for the second one. It's not normally the case, but that's one way you've gotten around that.
I mean, I think there's some history on Foch for going back many, many years.
Yeah.
That there's bad underlayment all throughout the area. So I would just hate to see getting a grant and then having to piecemeal it, because we won't get, I know we won't get the funds to do the whole thing. I'm just a little bit concerned. I'm concerned about that, but.
Clayton's cost?
$550,000.
That's we didn't redo the estimates to update them because just just consideration of not spending engineering time on something you had, but, so maybe it's 600,000, something like that. So, and that basically was really fix the curbing and then a mill and overlay, I think is what it was. Okay.
Well, clearly both, there's more than those two that to be addressed. So whatever is the most efficient use of the funds are, I think is really the way to go. If the decision is made that it's more effective to do Foch, then by all means, it clearly needs to be done.
Yeah. Concern I have is the depressions in the road are starting to get to the point where you get concerned about things that might happen as cars traverse the road. That's why it's raised its need level in our mind.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything else, Mr. Engineer?
That's all we have tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, close that item into audience comments. Please state your name and address for identification on the record. Anyone have anything they wish to add in regards to the agenda meeting? Seeing none, I'll close audience comments and accept a motion for adjournment.
So be it. Second.
I have a motion by Council President Dixon, seconded by Councilman Legati, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're going to adjourn for 5 minutes.
Yes, it is. Now we gotta stand to see the flag.
Good evening. The July 8th, 2019 meeting of the Milltown Borough Council will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Dixon?
Here.
Councilman Farkas?
Here.
Councilman Kerber?
Present?
Councilman Legati?
Here.
Councilman Mayor?
Here.
Councilman Revelinsky is absent. Mr. Mayor, we have 5 present.
Thank you. Will the clerk please read the meeting statement?
Let the minutes reflect that adequate notice of the holding this regular business meeting of the Borough Council was provided by the adoption of a resolution and the posting, filing, and forwarding of a copy of the same to the official Borough newspapers, Home News Tribune, and Star Ledger Publishing Companies on January 10, 2019. Public participation in this meeting will be permitted during public hearings and after the agenda of scheduled matters has been completed.
Thank you. Please rise for a moment of silence, followed by a salute to our nation's flag. Okay, next on this evening's agenda is consideration of minutes from the October 29th, 2018 council meeting. You've read the minutes of the meeting. What is your pleasure?
Move that these minutes be approved.
I second.
A motion by Council President Dixon, seconded by Councilwoman Kerber, that the minutes are approved as typed. Is there any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Dixon?
Aye.
Councilman Farkas?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kerber?
Aye.
Councilman Legati?
Aye.
Councilman Mayor?
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky is absent. Mr. Mayor, we have 5 ayes.
So moved. Okay, next we have the minutes from the November 19th, 2018 meeting. You've read the minutes of the meeting. What is your pleasure?
Move that the minutes be approved as typed.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Legati, seconded by Council President Dixon, that the minutes are approved as typed. Is there any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Dixon?
Aye.
Councilman Farkas?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kerber?
Abstain?
Councilman Legati?
Aye.
Councilwoman Mayor?
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky is absent. Mr. Mayor, we have 4 ayes, 1 abstention.
So moved. Okay, next we have the minutes of the December 8th, 2018 meeting. You've read the minutes of the meeting. What is your pleasure?
Move that these minutes be approved.
Second.
I have a motion by Council President Dixon, seconded by Councilman Legati, that the minutes are approved as typed. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mayor. I believe, well, looking it up, December 8th is a Saturday. So I believe the minutes should be December 17th.
They should be December 17th. Thank you.
And also, within the minutes of December 17th, Councilwoman Kerber is listed as absent, yet she voted on every one of the items that we voted on that evening. Which I thought was very good of her, but.
She was actually present at that meeting. That was my fault.
So-
I'll change the vote chart.
So then I would suggest that the minutes be approved as amended.
My minutes have the 17th.
Second.
It says the 17th.
That says the 17th.
The agenda
On our paper,
doesn't.
It said the 8th, and that's what they asked for.
I got you.
Okay, I have a motion and a second by Council President Dixon and Councilman Legati to accept the minutes as amended. All those in favor? Sorry, will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Dixon?
Aye.
Councilman Farkas?
Aye.
Councilman Kerber?
Aye.
Councilman Legati?
Aye.
Councilman Mayor?
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky is absent. Mr. Mayor, we have 5 ayes.
So moved. Okay, next we have the minutes of the April 22nd, 2019 meeting. You have read the minutes of the meeting. What is your pleasure?
Move that the minutes be approved as typed.
I second.
I have a motion by Councilman Legati, seconded by Councilwoman Kerber, that the minutes are approved as typed. Is there any discussion? Will the clerk call the roll?
Council President Dixon?
Aye.
Councilman Farkas?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kerber?
Aye.
Councilman Legati?
Aye.
Councilman Mayor?
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky is absent. Mr. Mayor, we have 5 ayes.
So moved. Okay, next on the agenda, we have audience comments and questions on the resolutions and bills and claims listed on this evening's agenda. If you have any comments or questions, please use the microphone in the center of the room. Give your name and address for the record when recognized. Remember that comments and questions are limited to the resolutions and bills and claims listed on the agenda. With that, I will open the audience comment.
Phil Zambrana, 40 Van Loo Avenue. I just have two questions. One is for Resolution 19191. It says something here about the support of electric vehicles. Kind of confused about that a little bit. What kind of support are we talking about? Building electric charging stations within the borough?
I received an email from Environment New Jersey, and there was a big push with the governor, of course, for renewable energies, and one of them is to reach out to municipalities to, yes, install electrical vehicle charging stations, or at least allowing them in the the businesses, if they choose to do so, to give them that support throughout the town, that we'll be able to do this in case people want to purchase hybrid vehicles, partial electric, partial gas, or all electric vehicles. It's an encouragement. It's not telling people to buy the vehicles, but it's an encouragement for us to possibly look into having that availability.
The borough.
The borough. She does have funding that she's going to provide to me. We'll look it over. We'll review everything before we apply. But it's also a possibility. We had mentioned that we might have 2 small internal plug-ins at the new complex, so that if we do get electric vehicles, at least the borough staff can plug in the vehicles. So if we do meter reading in the future, instead of having a gas guzzler old unit like we do, it'll help us, in terms of reducing some costs that way.
So you're in favor of solar and electrical overall for the town, even though it's not as readily available for everyone else in town?
Well, some people already have electric vehicles, so if...
No, I understand that, but I'm just talking, if you have an electrical vehicle, that goes sort of hand in hand with solar panels in general. But I'm kind of confused because we're kind of, it's great to support the electrical vehicles. I'm not negative about that, but we don't really have a plan or a solar plan in place for the town. So that's why I'm confused why we're going that way instead of like going the other way.
Well, we don't. Well, we do have a solar ordinance.
Right.
We haven't updated it since whatever year it was, not 2009, 10. And in terms of electric vehicle charging stations, this is the big push. It's been the big push for the last 3-4 years with Keep Middlesex Moving,
right.
Sustainable Jersey,
right.
And also it's an encouragement for people to purchase. Now, I know if you can go to Walmart, they're installing charging stations.
Right.
I know in East Brunswick. So it would be nice to have something local available if people choose to do so. So, and the bill is presently in the Senate. Senator Bob Smith is behind that bill, and then Assemblywoman Nancy Pinkin is behind the Assembly bill,
right.
And it's being presented at this time. So they sent an email to me to encourage municipalities to give that support. Woodbridge already has, there's several other towns in this county that's really
New Brunswick,
have it, so New Brunswick as well.
Would that be something, would you ever think about partnering with the existing, any existing business in town who might already have solar panels on their roof to sort of like build the electrical charge stations in the parking lot?
Well, I did send an email to Ariel Silverman, who's part of this group, and she will send me that information. She didn't get back to me before the meeting, but I did send an email out to see where we are for the local businesses as well as for our municipality in terms of the...
Thank you for that. My final question is on the resolution 19197 about the shared services agreement with the Township of East Brunswick. It just says various uses of specialized skilled staff, and this looks like it's a 5-year agreement?
Right, so what this will allow us to do, I'll give you a perfect example. Right before the 4th of July, our sweeper broke down.
Okay.
So now we were able to call them and utilize their, they could help out with staff and utilize their equipment at a very discounted rate than if we were to rent something or bring in another vendor to do that work. And so they have different specialized services that they could offer, and if should we need it, and we could reciprocate the same.
Do you have any other examples of specialized services other than like a street sweeping situation?
I believe that it's listed in the, I don't, off the top of my head, I don't, but it should be listed. It's not in the resolution, and you don't have the agreement. I don't have them off the top of my head.
But there is an agreement with rates?
The rates are based on whatever the cost is to the municipality. So whatever the labor rate is, they're not making money on us. We're just paying whatever their labor rates are.
And who sort of controls the agreement? Is it East Brunswick? Is it
East Brunswick is the lead agency.
So they're the lead agency?
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll close that item. Next on the agenda is bills and claims. Will the clerk please read resolution 19-186 by title only, please?
Authorizing the payment of bills, claims, and statements against the Borough of Milltown in the total amount of $1,098,221.87.
Okay, you've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move that this resolution be adopted.
Second.
I have a motion by Council President Dixon, seconded by Councilwoman Mayer, that the resolution is adopted. Is there any discussion?
Yes, yes. Page 10, on the bill list, there's 2 items for Montana Construction. One item is a hydrant repair on Yarnell and High Court for $21,000. Now, a fire hydrant costs $5,000. What kind of repair did we do for $21,000 on a fire hydrant? Now, and with all respect, Jeanette, I know you weren't here.
No, I don't have an answer for you. I don't have an answer.
I know you weren't here. But I do see 2 invoice numbers, 1804, 1805. Could I get copies of those just to see? Fire hydrant's $5,000. What did we do for $21,000? That's the question.
There's no, just pull it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Dixon?
Aye.
Councilman Farkas?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kerber?
Aye.
Councilman Legati?
Aye.
Councilman Mayer?
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky is absent. Mr. Mayor, we have 5 ayes.
So moved. Okay, next we have reports of standing committees and introduction of resolutions. A consent resolution has been prepared to cover the 10 resolutions on the agenda. If any member of the council wants any of those resolutions acted upon individually, please give me the number of the resolution and it will be removed from the consent resolution.
Mr. Mayor, 191.
Any others? Okay. Seeing no others, I will ask the clerk to read the consent resolution, and a reminder to the council that this will be passing all but resolution 19-191.
Whereas pursuant to the rules of council, the council may establish a consent agenda for any regular or special meeting, and whereas the Borough Clerk has posted a consent agenda for this meeting, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Milltown, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, that the consent agenda previously prepared by the Borough Clerk be approved without the necessity of having the individual resolutions read by the Borough Clerk.
Okay, you've heard the reading of this consent resolution. What is your pleasure?
Make a motion that this resolution be adopted.
Second it.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Legati, seconded by Councilwoman Mayer, that the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Dixon?
Aye.
Councilman Farkas?
Aye.
Councilman Kerber?
Aye.
Councilman Legati?
Aye.
Councilman Mayer?
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky is absent. Mr. Mayor, we have 5 ayes.
So moved. Will the clerk please read resolution 19-191 by title only, please?
Resolution of the Borough Council of the Borough of Milltown in support of electric vehicles.
Okay, you've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move that this resolution be adopted.
I second.
I have a motion by Council President Dixon, seconded by Councilwoman Kerber, that the resolution is adopted. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry, I just have, I guess, 1 or 2 questions here. The first question is, this resolution is just is it just an inquiry? Are there any costs to the borough on this particular resolution, or is it just a fact-finding information kind of resolution?
It's more of a level of support that we, as municipality, support electric vehicles, and in the future, we'll consider installing electrical vehicle charging stations.
Are we committing to
I
it?
didn't believe
We're
there
not
was any
committing
commitment.
anything.
It's
We're
just
just
showing
supporting it.
support.
Just a letter of support.
So this resolution is just saying we support electric
Exactly.
vehicles?
Correct, that's it.
Exactly.
Just a level of support.
That's all.
And the-
There's
and
no
the-
bills.
I just want to make sure, because
Yeah,
we're
no.
passing a budget that has a tax increase, I don't want to
There's no
commit to
commitment
any
of
money.
funds, no, no.
None whatsoever.
Thank you.
So,
Unequivocally
but
say
I have another question. Councilwoman Kerber, I think you mentioned at a previous meeting that you had already gotten a grant for electric charging?
What we did was, we filled out an application, and we submitted to the state. When funds have become available, they'll go through each application. I'm not sure if we're at the top or the bottom, or in between. And then that's when grant funding will be allocated to those municipalities who filled out the application. But that's when funding becomes available, still hasn't become available.
And what will be the cost to the borough?
At the time, it was last year, it was about 5,000 that they're offering. And it depends on, the prices change, just like everything else. Solar is less expensive than it was 5 years ago. So it's whatever the rate is, I'm not sure.
So say if we get a $5,000 grant, it would cost us more than $5,000 to implement that?
It is possible, but we could also install, like I said, the smaller charging stations internally into the building would be a consideration too, but that's different than the charging stations, standalone charging station in the parking lot. So that would cover that cost if it was internal to, the staff, the borough, and municipality.
Does the borough have any electrical vehicles now?
Not at the present time, but, how do you know in 20 years we won't? I don't know. I might not be here either in 20 years to know. But we want to encourage it. We're just saying this is a level of support, that we support the bills that are presented, and support throughout the area and the rest of the county, because the county is, a lot of the towns are moving to that direction. And as a matter of fact, East Brunswick, they have a redevelopment consideration that's in their ordinance now, that they need to provide, electrical charging stations.
Right. I just thought
on
it
their
was
premise.
unusual that we have an ordinance supporting something that we have no action on, that's all. It just seems odd.
It's not that unusual. There's plenty of organizations and things that ask for support from governing bodies, so that's all it is. It's just a show of solidarity.
Okay.
If I might add, I'd just like to remind the council that we own the Borough of Milltown Electric Company. And perhaps if we had some electrical charging stations, we could actually make a profit and reduce electric costs in Milltown. Something to think about. I won't be here to do it or think about it, but you folks will be, so I'd suggest maybe you give it a little consideration. With that, will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Dixon?
Aye.
Councilman Farkas?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kerber?
Aye.
Councilman Legati?
Aye.
Councilwoman Mayer?
Aye.
And Councilman Revlinski is absent. Mr. Mayor, we have 5 ayes.
So moved. Okay, next we move to the report of the Department of Finance, Administration, and Planning, chaired by Council President Ronald Dixon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This evening, I have no report.
Next, we will hear from the Department of Public Safety, chaired by Councilman Nicholas Legati.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Don't blink, this is going to be fast. Woohoo! Total number of fire calls for the Milltown Fire Department month-end report for June 2019. Total number of fire calls, 12. Total number of training details, 3. Total number of work details, 4. Total number of meeting details, 1. Total number of miscellaneous details, 2. Total incidents, 22. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Next, we will hear from the Department of Utilities, chaired by Councilwoman Trina Mayer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Feel free to blink, I have a long report. The Utility Department report for the month of June 2019. 50 daily station checks, 30 substation checks, 50 plus utility markouts. Water samples. Disinfectant residual testing was performed on June 5th, 12th, and 19th. All testing was found to be within acceptable parameters. Lead and copper sampling was completed, and we are pleased to announce that Milltown has met the requirements of the lead and copper rule, with the 90th percentile results being below the 15 parts per billion action level for lead. Electrical utility. Various electric meters were replaced, several house drops and hooks were replaced and repaired. 7 street lights were repaired, and we have been aggressively patrolling at night to compile a full list of broken fixtures. Street lights deemed unrepairable have been replaced with energy-efficient LED lights. Ongoing maintenance of the overhead wiring has resumed and several deficiencies repaired. A pole on Northbrook Drive was struck by a motor vehicle. Utilities replaced the pole, transformer, and street light. The lights on the North Main Street Bridge were repaired. Work involved troubleshooting faulty wiring, replacing the old lights with energy-efficient LED fixtures, a new contractor and a new contactor, and a new photo cell. Utilities assisted a contractor in repairing the site lighting at the Borough Pool. 2 blown fuse cutouts were replaced on primary circuits on different streets. Vegetation management was performed at the new substation, as well as various locations where vines were climbing up poles. Water department. Roughly 18 broken water meters were replaced throughout the borough and new remote readers were installed. Curb stops were located for various customers. The water tower painting project is underway, and the utility department has been assisting in the planning and preparation required by the contractors. The tank has been drained to facilitate the necessary surface preparation and the new coating to the interior to comply with DEP inspections requirements and ensure longevity. Residents can note the new color scheme which matches the borough's theme. Hydrant flushing was completed in June. We apologize for the inconvenience, but it is an essential part of our maintenance program as well as a DEP compliance requirement. Biannual flushing removes naturally occurring sediments from the water mains and improves overall water quality. Water quality reports have been mailed out to all residents. Additional copies are available at the Utility Billings Department window. If you did not receive one, please call the utility office to request one. A water main break occurred on Chestnut Street and was jointly repaired by the Utility Department and the DPW. A new chlorine analyzer controller system was installed at the Elkins Lane booster station to help improve water quality. Sewer Department. The 100 horsepower sewage pump at Church Street Pumping Station has been rebuilt and put back into service. Plumbing associated with pressure relief valve on our 12-inch forced main to New Brunswick developed a leak and had to be repaired. Metering. As always, the utility department works hand in hand with the utility billing department to ensure accurate utility charges. We troubleshoot faulty meters and work very hard to resolve any billing issues that occur. The utility staff has been extremely busy providing water quality, reliable electricity, working streetlights, and functional fire hydrants. As always, it is a pleasure to serve all our residents, and we strive to provide prompt service around the clock. A reminder to residents, if you have a water, sewer, or electric emergency, you can call Milltown Police Dispatch at 732-828-2100, extension 0 for service at any time. For non-emergency situations like reporting a street light or a leaky fire hydrant, you can call the office or report a concern on the borough website. The office number, by the way, is extension 137. If you have questions about water or electric service or your water or electric bill, please call 732-828-2100, extension 183. Report submitted by John Eckert, Director of Utilities. Remember to check with Channel 15 and milltownnewjersey.org for updated information. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Next is the Department of Public Works and Recycling, chaired by Councilwoman Dorianne Kerber.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The report for tonight is, along with all scheduled curbside collections, crosswalk line painting has taken place and been completed for the July 4th parade route. Bradford Park parking lot has been line striped. All fire hydrants on the parade route have been painted. All low-hanging branches on the parade route and Bradford Park have been trimmed for the celebration. Road repair has taken place on Michael and Lincoln Avenue. A tree has been pruned on Cortland Street due to low-hanging branches. The detention basin area of Gralick Way has been cleared and cleaned of vegetation. To comply with the stormwater regulations, and cleanup will be ongoing. Street sweeping is ongoing and will continue throughout the summer months. Fishing areas along Mill Pond Path were cleared to prep for the July 4th fishing derby. Pothole repair is ongoing. SAC moved and has taken place. Public Works assisted the Recreation Department with the move to the summer location at Joyce Kilmer School. Reminder, our quarterly concrete collection is July 15th through July 19th. Please call extension 187 to be placed on the list. Please check milltownnewjersey.org and, of course, Channel 15 for Public Works updates. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Next is the Department of Environmental, Health, and Social Services, chaired by Councilman Randy Farkas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No report tonight, but I would like to be the first to offer my thanks and congratulations to the 4th of July Committee for a job well done. Excellent day. And that concludes my report.
Excellent. Next is the Department of Recreation, chaired by Councilman Richard Revelinsky, who is not here. Does he have a report sitting over there?
Yes, he does. I will read it for you.
Okay, keep it short.
I will try. Summer SAC has begun. We are almost full in the Parkview program. If you're still in need of child care, you can still register your child. Please be sure to include the late registration fee. Please be advised that Summer SAC goes to the Borough pool every day between the hours of 2 and 6 p.m. The 2019-2020 school year SAC packets will be available the week of July 15th at the Recreation SAC office. We will post online as well. There's still room in swim lesson sessions if you are interested in signing your child up. Preteen nights are every Tuesday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. for ages 9 to 12 years old. Bring a friend, $5 per person. If we are low in attendance, preteen night will be canceled. This summer, the New Jersey Recreation and Parks Association is partnering with Homefront, a summer day camp to keep kids safe and engaged throughout the summer. The Milltown Borough Pool will be supporting this effort in collecting new or gently used bathing suits to help summer campers participate in swim lessons. The drive will take place throughout the summer until our Labor Day pool picnic party at the pool. Please look for more upcoming events at the pool and the information board. Albert Avenue Summer Recreation is set to start on Monday, July 8th through August 16th. Summer Adult Yoga will begin on July 8th, Mondays and Wednesdays. There are some Thursday classes. There is still room if you would like to register. And Summer Adult beach volleyball has begun. There is still room to register. Come out and play, and when you go for a swim afterwards. All are welcome, adults only, please, and that is the conclusion of the report.
Awesome. Okay, next on the agenda is introduction of resolutions. And tonight we have one. Will the clerk please read ordinance number 19-1475 by title, please?
An ordinance of the Borough of Milltown, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 4 of the Borough Code of the Borough of Milltown entitled General Licensing and Business Regulations to supplement with Chapter 4, Section 38 Records.
Okay, you've heard the reading of this ordinance. What is your pleasure?
Move that the ordinance be adopted on the first reading, published according to law, and that a public hearing be held at our next regular council meeting, which I believe is scheduled for August 12th at 7 p.m. in council chambers.
I second.
A motion by Council President Dixon, seconded by Councilwoman Kerber, that the ordinance be adopted on first reading, published according to law, and that a public hearing be held at our next regularly scheduled council meeting, which will be Monday, August 12th, 2019, 7 p.m. at Borough Hall. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. How does it differ?
It adds information regarding how we would handle vehicles that were abandoned, and then the police department takes ownership of them. So how we know the notification regulations and things like that. We didn't have anything previously.
Oh, so
This is fully supplementing it. It's adding things that didn't exist.
Okay, I misunderstood that. No problem. Thank you.
Anyone else? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Dixon?
Aye.
Councilman Farkas?
Aye.
Councilman Kerber?
Aye.
Councilman Legati?
Aye.
Councilman Mayor?
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky is absent. Mr. Mayor, we have 5 ayes.
So moved. Is there any old business to come before the council? Seeing none. Any new business to come before the council?
I have a question. During one of the reports, fire hydrants on the parade route were painted. I'd like the fire hydrant in front of my house painted. When does that happen?
Let's have a parade.
Have a parade down Janet Court, no problem. I mean, we have can we adopt a fire hydrant? Maybe get the paint from Ralph, and I'll get there with my wire brush and.
I like that.
Yeah, there's quite a few around town.
I'm not sure what the schedule is for, other than the parade route, how fire hydrants get painted. I'm very curious.
I think in the old days, they used to have summer help, though, Nick.
Yeah.
Okay.
like way back in the day.
I'd be glad to do it, you know.
It'd be a lot of fun.
I think one year we even had the Boy Scouts do it, didn't they?
Yeah. Boy Scouts too.
Okay, thank you.
Any other new business?
Yeah, I just wanted to announce that the Strategic Planning Committee will meet here at Council Chambers next Wednesday, the 17th, at 7 p.m., and the topic will be sustainability. So it's on the website. So if you're interested in sustainability or the strategic plan in general, please join us next Wednesday night.
If I may jump in on that, I would ask people in town, if you are serious about the future of your community, please be in attendance at these meetings. It's imperative that you show up and participate. If you want to be part of the solutions and not a non-participating resident, please come down and help out. It's up to you. It's your town. So thank you, Councilwoman, for hosting that. Any other new business?
Yes, I just want to give a statement from Councilman Revelinsky. He wants to, on behalf of the 4th of July Committee, let you know that it was a terrific job done, all the borough workers, and we want to thank the council and the mayor for coming together and walking for the parade together, and hope we continue to do so in the future. I know for a fact that I had contacted Anjek. I'm picking up a wheel for the National Night Out. I'm also going to do an event with the seniors, and she had emailed me. She said, oh, BTW. She visited this weekend her friends in Milltown. She lives in Greenbrook, and she said that everyone was raving about the fireworks. So, and also I know people were standing around me. They were just raving about the fireworks, that it was a job well done. And we want to thank everyone. Thank you for, the spots with high school seniors for graduating. Our 8th graders now going into 9th grade. And I'm really thrilled to tell you that I now have a high school student from South Brunswick High School who will be assisting us with Green Team projects in town, as well as a Milltown college student, first year, who will be assisting us as well. And if you want to volunteer, we will provide the letters. And be sure, so you can add that to your portfolio for future reference to college or career. So, thank you so much.
Great. Audience comments. Russell?
Good evening. Russ Einbinder, 220B South Main Street, just about recuperated. First of all, as far as the cable TV situation with replaying back meetings and some other things, there having some issues lately whenever I try and play things back, that the music service I have, that the software is supposed to turn off when I put on a meeting, doesn't go off. So until I figure that out, right now we'll watch them on YouTube until I can figure out how to get them working. It's like, and I know some people really don't look at computers or YouTube, and watching on TV is still, obviously, that's why we're a TV station. But I want to remind people, too, that keep on putting things up on Facebook and other places, that we do have the bulletin board, and as long as departments keep on feeding us information, we put it up there. The most updated information available to Milltown in terms of events and things is almost always up there. I mean, we might miss something, but we generally have it up there. Okay, so folks, if you have an event going on in town, please email me at milltowntv@aol.com. And I will make sure it gets up there, because if it's on the TV station, that means it's also on the Google Slides that you can access from our website. So if you want to make sure things are out there, that's a great way to do it. Just keep giving me the right information. It's not garbage in, good information, and we'll take care of it. That's that. Then we had this little party last week you might have heard about. Pleasure. I've been doing it for over 20 years. I love it. You know that. You've all heard me say it. Biggest cheerleader, biggest mouth in town. You know that already. But David Potter, our chairperson here at the 4th of July, said some wonderful things at the park, and everybody got to hear, including about your company and some other people there, Mr. McClellan. Thank you again for your support. He's one of our biggest supporters every year at CME. But I want to just reiterate what David said, for those that didn't get to hear him and might not see the video I put up yesterday, that all uniform services, like you were talking about, Councilman Kerber, and all the different departments, Ralph's department, John's department, all the different departments were amazing as usual, even above and beyond, because it was hot and sticky and tough conditions for a lot of people. had mummers conking out on me, okay? It was a tough day, heat-wise, but it went without a hitch, almost everything. Just little things, but it was one of the best 4th of Julys I've been involved with in this town, and that's been a long time for me. And the other thing is about the fireworks, and that's the other thing I really want to come up here and talk about. I mentioned the word redemption after them for those of you at the park, and that got a big roar. And I'm glad to say that the feeling of me standing here tonight versus my buddy Dave last year, when we were so somber after what happened last year, which is now thankfully a distant memory, I have to just read you the end here. And we've been going back and forth emails with the current company. We love them. They love us. Scott Hopkins was the vice president who shot him for us. Said the following, and we went back and forth how we love you and we want you back and this and that. And he went how his heart sank when he heard about what happened to us last year. And well, his last sentence to us in his email is very simple and says it all. I cannot wait to start work on the design for next year to see how we can make it even bigger and better. That kind of says it all. Thank you everybody for supporting it. Thank you everybody for coming. And thank you, Dave Crabiel, for sticking us with that term, greatest little town in the land. We're just keeping it going.
Absolutely. Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion. Or council comments.
So thank you to Mr. Einbinder for pointing out what a great success it was. So I want to thank you, Mr. Potter, and your entire committee. Thanks for putting it on YouTube. You all do an excellent job, and the feedback I got from people in town and out of town was tremendous. So it's much appreciated. It was a fun day, and I really appreciate all the hard work you put into it.
I'd like to echo some of those congratulatory statements. The 4th of July committee did a great job. I did enjoy, though, pre-4th of July, getting to hear my friend Mr. Neil Murata on the radio, how they were trying to say that New Jersey wasn't a patriotic state and they didn't even know about little old Milltown. It was a great, if you can get a clip of it, you should listen to it. You did. It was great, and it really showed them that Milltown puts the 4th of July on the map, and the patriotism that this town shows is above and beyond. It was a great little segment.
Yeah.
Excellent. Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll close council comments. Mayor comments, real quick, just as an update to the ongoing saga of Milltown resident Liam Zay. You might remember him as the resident who's the jiu-jitsu champ. He just returned from defending his title and retaining his title out in Las Vegas this past week. So congratulations to Mr. Zay as he continues on representing, of course, himself, but being a great resident of Milltown and showing the whole world that Milltown can do it. So congratulations, Liam, and keep up the great work. I think that's three years in a row he's taken that title, so that's tremendous. Real quick, I apologize to everyone at home. I missed the budget hearing the last meeting due to some family situations that unfortunately had taken me out of the state for a little bit of time. But I just wanted to do a quick rundown on why I did support the budget. And I'll give you, try to get it as quickly as I can. Basically, it goes like this. Back in 1896, Milltown incorporated and started going. We got some properties and infrastructure from East Brunswick. We got some from North Brunswick. We created the Borough of Milltown. Over the years, the factories in town, the Michelin Tire Company, built a lot of the infrastructure that we had in town. And over the years, a lot of subdivisions came in and increased the infrastructure in our town. And as far back as I can remember, and my memory goes back into the late 60s, early 70s, it's always been the mantra in Milltown, you know, Milltown's a great place, low taxes, low taxes, low taxes. Well, there was a reason. And the reason we had low taxes is because we owned our own electric company, and we would take the leftover surplus and kick it in and keep the taxes low. And plus, let's face it, you know, when you're given a municipal building, you use an old garage as a municipal building. And you do things like this, there's not a lot of financial outlay. Unfortunately, over all of those years that the folks were enjoying the low taxes and burning up the electric surplus, a lot of things didn't get upgraded and repaired and expanded. And that leads us to where we are today. And it's an unfortunate thing that so many things, whether it's electric infrastructure, water, sewer, buildings, electric substations, things that have happened in the past, it has come time, unfortunately, to take care of some of these things. And as we spoke about earlier this evening, we had the roads. We're talking about you know, $1 million on the 3 roads, and then Councilman Farkas brought up Clayton Court, which is certainly worthy of being taken care of too. As you can see, there's a lot of things that need to be taken care of in town, and I would just like to thank the council for their lively discussions and working on trying to take care of things the best we can with the money we spend. And yes, things are getting expensive. But again, 40, 50 years of, hey, we got the lowest taxes in the county. Well, unfortunately, it's time to make a lot of repairs that unfortunately were not done over a long period of time. So I would like to thank this council for working and putting together what I thought was a good budget. None of us like to raise taxes because we don't like to put it on you. We don't like to pay them any higher ourselves. But I think we can all agree that Milltown is a great investment for our children, our families, and our friends. And it's certainly been worthwhile in my lifetime to support that. And I hope other people agree too. So with that, that's my explanation of why I supported the budget. And again, thank you to the council for working these things out. I know it's a tough thing, and you hate to have to do this, but again, if you want the town to endure, you want it to go on, you want it to prosper, it has to be worth something. You have to invest. So that's my reasoning. That's the end of the mayor's comments. I think we have an executive session we're looking into, Mr. Legati. Councilman Legati.
Yes.
Take it away, please, sir.
Okay. I move that the resolution to enter into executive session be approved by council, and that council will enter executive session immediately following the vacation of the council chambers by the public.
Okay, you've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move that this resolution be adopted.
I second.
We have a motion by Council President Dixon, seconded by Councilwoman Kerber. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Dixon?
Aye.
Councilman Farkas?
Aye.
Councilman Kerber?
Aye.
Councilman Legati?
Aye.
Councilman Mayor?
Aye.
And Councilman Revelinsky is absent. Mr. Mayor, we have 5 ayes.
So moved. We'll take about a 5-minute recess to clear the courtroom, and we will continue with our executive session. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
In case anybody was wondering, Councilman Revelinsky is absent.